MLBBro.com is covering black and brown players in the Fall Classic.
What's going on, everybody? It's Malik Wright here with Dante Miles. We're here at the wrap-up show. Close out, give you guys a recap on the World Series won by the Atlanta Braves in 5. Dante, what's up, man? You're in the ATL. I would say that we maybe didn't see this coming, but you, Rob Parker, and Rachel Hill, y'all picked the series perfectly.
Oh, yeah, we definitely picked Braves in 6. I picked Freddie Freeman to be my MVP. Ended up being Soler. But Freddie Freeman did have a great World Series. Ended up hitting 318, couple home runs, 5 RBIs. And like I said earlier, when I talked with Rob about it, a lot of people think this may be the end for Freddie Freeman, but I really hope this is, the beginning of something. It shouldn't be the end. With everything he's been through, being the face of this franchise, and the city of Atlanta itself, finally getting it done. And, they've always had to endure it, and they still will have to endure the 28-3 jokes. But, I mean, for them to clinch the World Series in Houston where they lost that Super Bowl, I think that was kind of, poetic justice for the city of Atlanta. They're really going to enjoy this one. Yeah,
man, it's been a lot of heartbreak for that city, and that city is the running joke in a lot of sports, not just the Falcons, but even a few years ago when Georgia lost to Alabama, and then all the shortcomings that the Braves have had. They've always been a great team, but like we said, they took on the Astros, took down our favorite manager, Dusty Baker, in 6 games.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about Dusty's career as well as what's next for the Astros and the Braves later. But let's start off and let's get a few highlights of this game to show you how we got there. Now, the World Series, it started off with a bang. Like you said, MVP, World Series MVP, Jorge Soler. He put his name up in history with some of the greats with as many go-ahead home runs. He started this home run right here. This is his home run last night. And this is what really kicked off the game against Garcia. I think, look, he crushed that.
Yeah, no, that reminded me of the Pujols home run. And not only that, with the impact it had, 3-0, and it really was over after that home run.
He put that ball over the train tracks in Houston. He hit a long way, and he had dealt with COVID-19 a few weeks ago, so he wasn't on the earlier postseason roster. He came onto the postseason roster and not only hit that home run, but he also banged the home run on the 3rd pitch of the World Series, I believe. So he was out there hitting. We're joined by we're gonna bring in our guest, the man, J.R. Gamble here. What's going on, J.R.? Right on time.
What's up, fellas? I love what you're doing. I love this World Series recap. I'm listening to. I gotta listen to you guys more and learn something about this baseball. Y'all are breaking it down. It's a little different right now.
Man, we got some special stuff cooking up, but we just introduced what's going on. What were some key things that you think played a part in the Braves winning this World Series?
Well, as much as I love small ball, I believe they out-homered Houston 11-2 in the series.
Yep.
Dante could correct me if my math is wrong, but I think that played a large part in it because World Series games, playoff games are about clutch hits and, key hits and putting runs on the board. And if you out-homer a team 11-2, I would assume that you win that series. Also, I just believe that, the Braves pitching is just better overall. I was never impressed with Houston's pitching staff. And then when they lost McCullers, going into the World Series, I thought that would be very, very tough because I know Dusty was going to rely on him a lot, So, yeah, I would say the home run differential, key pitching in the key spots, and guys just doing their job. Like Dusty went to the pitcher with Javier.
Yeah, Javier.
He went back to him, after he had already got bombed, hoping for a better situation, but he just didn't come through. And these type of situations is about who's going to step up, who's going to actually do their job. because when everybody does their job, they usually have success. And both managers, are shrewd managers. They try to set things up, and then you can only hope that your players do what they have to do. Houston getting off to such a slow start with the bats in those first couple of games really hurt them, because we already knew that they would have to score a lot to win. And for some reason, the Braves would have won. Houston led the league in hitting most of the year, and the Braves were the ones who had all the clutch hits, all the key hits, got all the key outs. And that's what happens in the World Series. Those games go quickly. You down 2-0, then you down 3-1, and now you have to win 3 in a row. And that's not likely. And they actually to try to overcome a 4-0 deficit and a 5-0 deficit. That doesn't happen too much in the playoffs. So those are basically the keys to the series for me, because both these teams were pretty evenly matched, I guess. Well, I didn't think that going in, but after seeing the Braves go through a couple of rounds and seeing how they were playing and as a team and the chemistry and the key hits that happens in the playoffs, teams get hot. That was the difference right there. I mean, if they played 5 series, I think Houston would win 3 of them, but doesn't really matter. The Braves did what they had to do. And that's why I love baseball. It's the only sport where you really can't pick who's going to win at the end of the year. Every other sport, you have these 2-3 teams that probably will win. But in baseball, you never really know, because is your pitching hot? What players are hot? And every game comes down to a couple of key hits here and there. You rarely have big-time blowouts in the playoffs, although we had a couple. The Game 6 was a blowout. And then Game 5, I guess on the Dodgers side, was a blowout. That was a 9-4 game, right? I guess that was.
Yeah, that was 9-4.
Yeah, so that was a blowout. But I don't know, baseball, that's why I love baseball. You never really can tell. And then analyzing it afterwards, there's always a lot to analyze. To me, football, basketball is not as much to analyze after, because, the Lakers going to be there. Like basketball, Lakers, Nets, Bucks. But baseball, you never know, man. Who would have thought, Dante or Malik, who would have thought that Acuna goes down? They bring these guys in off the scrap heap, and they actually give the team better chemistry than if Acuna was there and those guys weren't there.
Yeah, and you got if Acuna is there, they don't go trade for Soler. They don't lose Peterson, and then they don't it's almost like it actually worked out that they got to play at the American League ballpark. They got to actually use all 4 of those outfielders they had.
Yeah. And how often do you see a team make 4 moves around the deadline or before the deadline, and they all actually pan out? Bringing in Eddie Rosario, bringing in Adam Duvall, like you said, bringing in Soler, bringing in Jock Peterson, who helped them in the NLCS. Making those moves and they actually pan out. Because, like you said, with Acuna going down, Ozuna in his domestic situation,
right?
You lose your ace Soroka. A lot of people wrote this team off. Nobody expected them to do that. And JR, I like what you said with the 11 home runs. We all expected Houston to hit 11 home runs.
Right.
Nobody expected that from the Braves. But like you said, they got the timely hits. They got the power from the first at bat to, like you said, Soler in Game 6, setting the tone. Like I said, when he hit that ball out the park, that was like that Pujols home run. It really it just took the energy out the stadium. And that's one stadium that's already tough to play in. And so when he did that, you saw all them towels stop waving. Everybody was like,
pretty much.
Yeah. But let's get into a few highlights here. An important Game 1 highlight that we must show is the Braves were able to overcome a few pitching injuries themselves. Charlie Morton comes in the game. He breaks his leg, gets hit by a line drive. Right there. Wasn't so much right there on it. That one got him flush. I think that was over 100 miles an hour on him.
Well, I mean,
for him to stay in the game, bro, and battle back like this,
he's in the game with a broken leg, trying to throw pitches.
pushing off, like, bro, landing on that leg, like, nah, I couldn't. Nah.
I think he knew that.
Oh yeah,
he didn't have much more to go. He was trying to just get a team. He put it all out there on the line. You know,
yeah, let me get out this inning. You know, give me them, get it to the bullpen, let them handle it. But
2-2 pitch.
yeah. So we thought this blow was actually kind of made the teams more even when you put McCullers, who missed time, and then you have Charlie Morton, he's one of the best big game pitchers in the league. But Braves would hold on to win game run. Eddie Rosario threw out Yuli Gurriel late in the 8th inning, and that kind of killed the momentum of that game. But just for them to be able to escape this situation and get a win without Morton, I think that was a key start to the World Series for him.
Sure.
Yeah. I need to take that and replace the Kurt Schilling bloody sock. I like that.
Yeah, that's that. You know, the problem with the bloody sock is, for what, or ketchup, because you know, never know. Years later now they're saying it's ketchup, but you know, like I say, I don't mess with history. You know,
yeah,
I don't change history. If it was a bloody sock and not ketchup, hey, it's a better story for baseball anyway. But yeah, I did think about Kurt Schilling and the bloody sock. And that game, I think he went a strong 7, though.
Yeah.
Against loaded Yankees lineup in that game.
Yeah,
so.
That was a little different. Yeah, it's a little different. But, you know, it's still tough to play with a broken leg. You got to give him his props. And we don't know how much of an inspiration those 16 pitches were for the rest of the team, for the rest of the series. Like, we don't know how that affected them mentally. You know, everybody needs a spark. Everybody needs a hero. And I think he really elevated the team's play.
Yeah, I mean, you had him and Acuna sitting on the bench. Like, we can't help y'all. Like, I just imagine. I was watching, just imagining how he felt if they would have ended up losing the game. You're the MVP at the point of when he got hurt. Acuna was probably going to win the National League MVP. He was right up there with Tatis, and then Tatis misses how many games, and the Padres fall off. You never know where he could get. But the Astros, they came back and they showed a little bit of life in game 2. Jose Altuve, he earned his stripes. From all the scandals that they had, that man can hit. Had a huge home run in game 2. Just talk about him. He's going to be missing some more.
Altuve's got another.
One of the best hitters in
Texas welcome.
Yeah, he had what, 26 postseason home runs, something like that. 26, 27, something like that.
22 career postseason
22,
home
there we go.
For the 5'6" second baseman.
Consistently.
And that's into left. Altuve's got another. And a rude Texas welcome.
I knew he
for
hit
Drew Smiley.
He was one of the, a lot of the Astros that you see typically hitting well in the playoffs, the Bregman types, they sort of struggled. Altuve was,
right.
Although he wasn't his regular self, he was still one of the top hitters on the team. Then game 3 came along. This was after being able to split one, they moved on to Atlanta. Rookie Ian Anderson comes up on the mound. 5 innings, no hit baseball. One of the, I'm sure Dante, you can talk. Were you at game 3 or was it?
Oh no, we were at game 4 and 5.
4 and 5, yeah. But one of the best pitching performances in Braves history to get his team off to a start like that.
For sure. And none of the pitchers were the Braves pitcher last night. I think he went 6 innings. I think that was the longest outing.
Man, that might have been the longest outing I've seen for anybody in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it was. I think I heard that today on the radio. They said that 6 innings was the longest outing of any pitcher in the entire playoffs, man. And I'm like, damn, times have truly.
That's insane. Like, that's insane because, like, you know, I grew up watching, you know, Greg Maddux, Pedro. They going 7-8 strong. Like, they handing it over either to the setup man or the closer. And now, like, everything. That's why, like, one thing you notice, like, a lot of pitchers are really just out there throwing. They're not pitching anymore. That's why you have a guy, he only goes 4 innings, but he threw 96 pitches. Like, I think it was a crazy stat. Greg Maddux threw over 100 pitches only like 46 times. I think like in his whole career, something crazy. But like it's just the lack of control, and like now everything is so compartmentalized and specialized, and like now you got to go to the bullpen. You go get 3 outs. You go get 3 outs. You go I'm gonna put you to end the inning, so I don't have to use you the next inning. Like it's just like you said, it's just different.
It is. It's total. I mean, if you look at it from a hitter's perspective, it's totally different, right? Like it's gotta be twice as hard to hit late in games than it ever was. Why? Because in the past, you were counting on that 6th, 7th inning to be the wear down innings for an ace. Because when you watch games when you were younger, you knew that Hershiser was going to shut dudes down for 6 innings. You knew Clemens was going to shut you down for the first 6, 7. It was probably going to be a 2-1, 2-3, 3-2 game. You had to get to him when he got tired in the 7th and get him out of there to get to the bullpen. But now you facing 4 guys that's coming in throwing 100, right? It ain't even that they're great pitchers. It's very hard for a hitter, first of all, to adjust to another arm angle, another array of pitches from a different pitcher, and the speed. The speed coming 100. You in the 7th inning, your bat's slowing down. Their pitches is speeding up, and you facing fresh guys every inning. Fresh. It ain't no battle of attrition anymore.
Yeah,
when you have those guys coming in every inning.
Yeah, and it's like the scouting report, like his name slipped right now, but the Braves pitch a dude. He faced one batter, and then he was straight out of the game. Like this coming in the game plan, BP. Are you facing a lefty, righty? They pull you out in 2 innings. You don't even get to see. But that game 3 was one. It was a 1-0 game throughout the entire game until Travis d'Arnaud, who he was on the Braves. He came back. I forget when he got traded to him, but he joined the team after dealing with some injuries. Came on late, and then he had one of the biggest home runs to give the team a lead or to extend their 2-0 lead.
They didn't have bullpen anymore. That's all they needed. Like that extra insurance room was all they needed.
When he was on the Mets, I never would think he would play for one.
That was sort of a dagger right there that day to get in game 3. Like you said, though, Dante, you were at game 4. You, Rob Parker, were on the scene. Was that how? Well, just real quick, your first taste of a ballpark this season?
No, I went up. I went to a game out back in Chicago, but this was my first World Series game. So just the energy in the building, it was really amazing. The Braves fans, they were really they emulated what Boston did. They stood up the whole game, like the entire game. So game 4, obviously with that being a close game the entire time, the energy was really, really tense. But it was really just an really amazing baseball atmosphere. And then when, for them to go back to back with Dansby and then Soler, to take the lead, that's why I really thought that they were going to close it out in 5 because like the energy from Houston, it was one of those like gut punches where it's like just had, somebody they said, the old school say they had the rug pulled from under them. Because like they were leading that entire game. And then you go back to back, and I believe it was either the bottom of the 7th or the 8th, but you go back to back. You go back to back with Dansby and Soler, and they just really completely did a 180 with the momentum. So like that was insane to actually be in there, and the reaction, because I was actually sitting out on the Hank Aaron Terrace outside when Soler hit the home run. So like the building just erupted, and like that was insane. But that moment right there, I really thought they were gonna close it out in 5 after those back-to-back home runs.
Yeah, if we could pull up those 2 home run shots, but like you said, I've never been to a World Series game. I've been to a CS game with I've been to Rangers, Blue Jays, but nothing like that. It was electric.
Win tonight.
Yeah, man,
Here's one into right.
Yeah. And this one, I actually thought this one was gonna hit off the wall. I didn't think he got enough of that one.
light it up. Especially going down late against the Pros, and then there's the man.
Yeah, now that home run, I feel like if an outfielder that was a real outfielder, a quality outfielder, might have been able to grab that ball because it wasn't as hard as he made it look. I just don't think that he's built for making those type of catches in the outfield. He's a DH playing out there, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, Adam Jones actually tweeted it. He said that ball was smoked. He said it had top spin. He said that's a DH out there. Yeah, he said it's a DH out there. He said it would have been a hard play for most outfielders, but for him, it's damn near impossible.
Yeah,
he wasn't the guy to make that play. And also, another thing, that fence is pretty short. So like in like half of the other ballparks, that's not a home run. That would have been a double off the wall. Right. So it's like those little things, you talk about baseball, like that was a crazy moment to be in the building when that happened. That was crazy.
Yeah, well, like you said, Alvarez didn't come through with his catch. Eddie Rosario, on the other hand, in that same game, had a huge catch in the 8th inning, which sort of sealed the deal in that. What was the ballpark like? I might ask you that question one more time when we talk about the next game, but what was the ballpark like when he made that catch real quick?
Oh man, it was nuts, bro. Because like you said, it was such a back and forth game, and then in that moment where they really needed to, get that stop and keep the momentum going on their side, he came through and he did that, the slide and catch. So that it was crazy.
All right, well, we got another guest. He's not even a guest. He's the man.
Head honcho.
What's going on, Rob? The head honcho. What's up, Rob?
What's happening, guys? How you guys doing? Great to see everybody.
I know, national reunion.
I know. I can't believe the baseball season's over, but it was tremendous, man. First, I want to thank everybody for all the hard work on MLBBro.com, and what we were able to do in our first year was magical. And I got to spend time with, matter of fact, all three of you guys. Throughout the year, and just working and doing the things that we've done, and we would have loved everybody. Would have loved to have seen Dusty Baker win a championship. It would have really been great. Not, for Dusty, for us, for our people who look at Dusty as one of the great managers of all time, even though he hasn't won a championship and he's been to 2 during his career. But it was a great World Series. It was exciting. It was fun. Dante and I, of course, covered a few games in Atlanta. That was great, being a part of that. And Dante can tell you, us walking around and talking to people and the kind of love that we got for being there, that was amazing. Dante, what'd you think?
Oh, no, definitely. It was just being down out on watching them take BP, but actually just being around the other beat writers and everybody, like you said, showing us love, really coming up, asking us about MLB, bro, you know what I'm saying? And when we explained it to them, really saying like, yo, wow, like, we need that. Like, that's one thing I really love. Like, shout out to Marley Rivera. When she came up to us in the press box, like, she was really excited. She was like, oh, you one of the writers? Hey, no, we need you. Like, hey, come back next year. Come do this. Come do that. And that was really dope. Like I said, It was a great experience.
Oh, yeah. And that our favorite, one of my favorites on TV, Harold Reynolds. I love watching him. I see him.
Yeah.
A little jealous of that one. Maybe one day. Got you. But
Harold looked like he could have suited up and went out there, man. Yeah,
he was still in game shape. He still looks great, man. Even in the suit, like he's been retired for a long time. He's slim and trim and and looks great. Yeah, and he loves the site, man. He loves the stuff that we're doing. But yeah, man, the World Series was it was still exciting. It really was. It would have been great for maybe a different outlook, but we did have a couple of our MLB bros who did pick the World Series right. I know it was a Astros heavy. We're not trying to rub it in, Dante, are we?
I mean, a little bit. Just a little bit.
Rachel Hill, we all got it.
I can't believe 3 of y'all picked the Braves, though. That's crazy. So yeah. So what did you see, Rob? Malik's the actual host, but I just want to ask a question. What did you see in that pick that made you pick the Braves? Like, why?
You know what it was? It was what they did to the Dodgers. And that's what made me say they got something special going. And if you remember when they blew game 3, right? They were leading all the way, and then they gave it up late. And then the next game, they came right back and beat the Dodgers convincingly 9-2. And I said, this ain't the same Atlanta. They don't have some of their star players. And, you know, people say, well, the Dodgers had injuries. No, Atlanta had injuries. So I'm not going to allow people to take this away from Atlanta. And I saw something different. And we saw this a couple of years ago, JR, when Washington lost Bryce Harper, and then the next year, right, they weren't given much of a chance, and they went on to win the championship. And a team like that, and I thought that they had something special. I don't know, Dante, you live in Atlanta. You get to watch more of their games and see. What did you see? Because you picked it 4-2 as well.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, for me, really, like I said earlier, it was the moves they made, and as a result of the injuries, like they grabbed 4 outfielders. You know, getting Eddie Rosario, getting Adam Duvall plays third base. They got 3 outfielders. Getting Jock Peterson. You know, getting Soler. They plugged all those holes. So, you know, Soler, he's like you said, off the scrap heap, but just a few years ago, he led the American League with 45 home runs. Yeah. So, you know, getting a guy like that and giving them an opportunity. And so, you know, this was a team that really, you know, they just really stayed afloat in the NL East. And then, like we know, we all thought the Mets were going to take the NL East. But, you know, once they collapsed, the Braves really just stepped up and took over. And, you know, one thing, like we said about the playoffs in baseball, it's really just a matter of who gets hot. And their bullpen was good. The starting pitching was on point. And the lineup was a lineup that could do it all. They could play small ball. They could hit home runs. And like we saw in the World Series, it all just came together.
Sure did.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, but before we get you to leave, Rob, I got to get your reaction now. Game 5, a first inning grand slam in the World Series. Have you ever been around that? And what was the ballpark like after that?
Yeah, never seen that. It was amazing. It was electric. But Dante and I, you know, we talked to each other. We were like, it's a long baseball, 4 runs, even in the first inning, is a long way to go. I didn't think it was over. Fans were feeling good, but I was like, I don't know. It's still a long way. And the Astros were fighting for their lives. And remember, that was a bullpen game.
Valdez in game 1, hits it in the air to right. Back at the wall. Grand slam!
Yo, every time I looked up, that dude was getting rocked up. Like, watch that. Every time I looked up, that dude was getting smoked. Why did he keep him in the game? Like,
that was his freshest arm.
Every game he was getting smoked, though.
I know.
That was the healthiest guy he had. That was
hated him being in the game, bro. Because he didn't look confident. Did you see his face when he was pitching? Yeah. Did he look confident to you, Dante?
No, he didn't. Not at all. He didn't.
Homered off Valdez in game
like, 1. I knew he was going to get smoked every single time.
But as far as Atlanta, remember, it was a bullpen game, so they had to rely on 7 guys trying to shut down the Astros.
Yeah, they just did their job.
A chance that they would come back.
Yeah, and so like you said, they go up with the grand slam, and I watched on TV Sunday night. So they go up by 4. They end up losing the game, and the way that you saw the Braves come off the field, and the way that like you saw the shots of the crowd, it looked like everything that happened before didn't matter. It was like, oh, we got to go back to Houston. It was looking bad. I thought Houston really had a chance to win. Was that sort of the 28-3? Did you guys get that vibe in the ballpark at all walking out?
I wouldn't go as far as 28-3, but I did have some of my friends from here in Atlanta hit me up and like, here we go again. You know, like they were still on edge about it, but you know,
he showed me the Texas. He showed them to me. Yeah, my friends are tripping out in Atlanta.
No, they like, you know, because like, you know, they always have, like you said, this has been like a sports hell in a sense as far as like closing out big games. They just haven't been able to do it. So, you know, with them blowing the 3-1 lead last year, them losing that game and having to go back to Houston and that being such a tough place. But I think the fans had that attitude, but I don't think the team did. Like the team never took that mentality. They went down and like we saw, they took care of business and they got up 3 and they didn't take their foot off the gas.
Yes, sir. And we can start. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I totally agree. Maybe fans were feeling that way, and rightfully so. But I really didn't get that from, I think, the players. This is a different team, and they've had adversity. And remember, they were trying to go, was it 8-0 or 9-0 at home? Remember, they were trying to win every playoff game at home. which is impossible almost to do. So I kind of figured like there's a good chance that they would probably lose that game, but they didn't lose focus. Hey, guys, man, I got to bounce out of here, man. I appreciate you guys having me on the show, loving everything about it, and looking forward to the 2022 season and MLB Bro and all the new stuff and we have in store for next season.
Rob, before you go, what do you see for Dusty next year?
I know everybody's saying, well, can he get back? I'm just going to say, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think he's going to get back only from the standpoint, they just went to 5 straight ALCSs. They're about to lose Correa, who's not coming back. So that's a big piece. And I just think it's really hard to get back to the World Series. We talk about it all the time. The last team to repeat in the AL was the Yankees in 98, 99, 2000. The last team in the National League to repeat was the 75, 76 Reds. Yeah. So it's just so hard. And to think that the Astros are going to lose Correa and make it back to the World Series, I don't see it.
We'll have to see, Rob, man. But appreciate you joining us, man.
For sure.
We're going to close this one
Always.
out.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. And like he said, let's touch on that real quick before. Well, let's show the final out of Game 6 before we get to talking about the Astros to close it out. Freddie Freeman got to catch the last out. Swanson said I watched MLB Network. Swanson said he told Albies before the pitch, be ready. I'm going to throw it to you if this ball you don't touch the outside of the World Series. When he got the ground ball, he said he saw Albies up that chair with his hands up. Had to throw it on first. But you talked about it at the beginning. The impact of Freddie Freeman to the city, I can't see him in any other uniform than the Braves. And I really hope y'all lock him up.
Oh, yeah, no, they definitely got to lock him up. Like I said early on Rob's show, I said this shouldn't be the end of his career with Atlanta. This really should be the start of something else, This guy who has been the face of the franchise since Chipper Jones left, held it down, never got in trouble, giving you his all, 162 games a year. So
you can't let him go.
You can't. You
an
can't.
MVP and then a World Series, an MVP that some people actually question.
In 2021.
Yeah.
Right?
People.
Right. But he then showed this year, I am an MVP. My influence on this team, top to bottom, is very impactful. And I don't think anyone will put an asterisk next to that MVP he got in the COVID season after this season.
Yeah.
Like he's not. I won't go as far as saying he's on the Atlanta sports Mount Rushmore, but he's close. He's close. I will, as far as this generation right now, he's close. Like that's how big Freddie is in Atlanta.
I mean, just a guy looking from the outside. I mean, just thinking about the recent people. I mean, Mike Vick. Oh my God. Joe Johnson. I mean, Matty Ice hasn't got it done yet, but he's actually for like you said, for our generation.
I'm saying for our generation,
he's big time. He's big time.
He's big time.
He's real big time. But so real quick, Rob, we talked about what's next for the Astros. I actually think that they have a shot next year at it. One being that they play in such a weak AL East. The Rangers aren't going to be much. Where Seattle's right on the cusp, but they're a young team. We don't know who they're going to add this offseason. Oakland just lost their manager. The Angels are a dumpster fire. And the one thing I think that Dusty did get a chance to do, he got to play guys like Kyle Tucker. He had a rookie out there playing center field. That their farm system's so deep. I think if they can add a free agent or two, get a little healthy. And another thing that Dusty was pointing towards is his guys were young. They hadn't had experience of getting out of the inning and different. It's stuff that he was teaching them that you don't want your players to have to learn in the World Series. But the fact that they got that type of experience, do you think that helps them in any way next season?
Oh no, absolutely. I think any type of experience is good experience, but that type of experience in that environment was perfect for them. But I'm with JR. They need arms. When you don't have any pitchers get out of the fourth inning, like you need arms. Like one guy, I don't know how much money they have. I haven't checked the salary cap situation. Well, not salary cap situation. I haven't checked who they have coming off the books, but they should take a look at Marcus Stroman. Like, they need somebody like that. They need another arm.
Verlander's I believe Verlander's a free agent this offseason. I want to.
If they have Stroman, they win. I believe, because if you just look at they were throwing anybody out there, bro, and you can't be a World Series team throwing a bunch of B dudes out there and hoping that somebody catch lightning in the bottle and give you 4 scoreless. Like, tell the truth. When you looked at those Astros pitchers and you've watched the last 10 World Series, something was different about that team that didn't give you the confidence that they could. There was nobody to turn to, like, oh, Kershaw's pitching tomorrow. Oh, even McCullers is pitching tomorrow.
They had no guy that you would say, like, yo, he can go on short rest. Like, I'm confident in him going on short rest.
I don't think Dusty wanted. It was a lot of people Dusty didn't want to give the ball, and I think that him losing McCullers really he didn't want Odorizzi to touch the ball.
Oh no,
he didn't want Zach Greinke he didn't even want Zach Greinke to touch the ball.
Now that I don't know about.
I don't think he used him enough.
He didn't, because look, Game 6 was the game that you give the borderline Hall of Famer the ball, who never won. That, like, if I'm managing, and Dusty knows, use your baseball intuition, right? Use history. Where do they use guys like this, right? The guys that are veterans, the Josh Beckett's, the guy that who was pitching for who did Boston have a couple years ago? The workhorse that was a journeyman that help them. You know, guys of that ilk, guys who have been very successful in the league, might have made an all-star game or 2.
Yeah,
are better than decent, but if he gave Jack Greinke that ball, Greinke's gonna give you 5 innings. You don't know what kind of 5, but he could go 6, give you 6 innings, two hits and a shutout.
Yeah, he's done it before. He's done it this season.
You can't use somebody that never done nothing before, but pitch a couple of innings here and there. I would have gave the ball to Greinke. If I got a guy like that, who I haven't even really used like that, who didn't have a terrible season, I can't have him just sitting around, right? Like, I got to get the ball.
Were you talking about a few years ago with Boston, David Price, when he came in and pitched well in the postseason?
Another guy, very good, Price. Every year there's a veteran.
Yeah,
the names escape me right now, but every year there's a veteran pitcher.
Yeah,
who
I can go back to
above his. Pitches better than he did that season.
Yeah,
because he's getting the ball in the World Series in a big spot, and he's so experienced that he's really focused on the big spot. Dusty took a chance. He tried to go with the young boys. They weren't ready. That's how I look at it. They just weren't ready.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because I would say I'll go back as far as I was in high school in 05. The White Sox had Orlando Hernandez after his run with the Yankees.
Keep going. Yep.
He's gonna go, like you said. He's a gamer, as they used to say. You know what I'm saying? You give him the ball, he's gonna get you 5. You know what I'm saying?
He ain't giving up a grand slam in the first. I tell you that.
Right. Yeah, he's gonna get you five innings and get it to that bullpen. Like you said, Dusty just didn't have that. I think they put up a stat. This was the first team that didn't get a starter to go out of the 4th inning. You know what I'm saying? In a World Series. So that's insane. Like you said, you just can't have that. And so, you said,
they couldn't win. Like, when you look at all the numbers. The 11-2 homers, the lack of starting pitching, the ineptitude of the core players in certain games, compared to the Atlanta, who got surprise pitching performances, surprise hitting performances. Everybody was raking. Everybody got the key hits. I didn't see any errors made on defense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Hey, before
shout out to Ron Washington.
Shout out to I liked your article, and I know he should have been managing some team. Ron Washington should not have been this long without a job. I believe he's spent time multiple places. doing his infield, and they're the best infield in baseball. You saw it's just from the things that Albies was doing, just the plays that Ozzie Albies made look routine was like, that's Ron Washington, get in and get your drills. And you hear them all talk about it. We're doing our drills every single day. Like, we brush our teeth. We're not going to play if we don't get our drills, if we don't do these balls. So I want to shout out for baseball life for Ron Washington, although Dusty couldn't get it. We had him in for a while, but I want to get y'all's final thoughts on Atlanta. Big win for the city. Dante, we talked about it a little bit last night of just what you guys could add. I think a guy like Nick Costi, it's going to be some holes in the outfield, like you said. Acuna is saying that he's going to be back around March, May is what he told Breck, but he doesn't get to make that decision, I'm pretty sure. Nick Castellanos, Jorge Soler. I mean, who do you guys give Jock Peterson a deal? Who do you think you guys could use this offseason to help you get to that repeat?
I think they're gonna let Jock walk. I think they're not gonna pick up his option, but I do think you have to ask yourself, what do you want to do with that corner outfield spot? Because Ozuna, he probably won't be back either. So those are two big spots they'll have to fill. But I think addition just by getting healthy with, like you said, Acuna when he does come back, so Worker, your ace. This is still going to be a strong scene. It's going to be a strong ball club. I know this year they were only projected to win like 78 games, and they did what they did. So I think Soler is a guy. We talked one thing we haven't talked about yet, but they're going into labor collective bargaining. So we're probably going to have a universal DH. So I could see Soler coming back because that's a guy that you can use in multiple spots. And I think Freddie Freeman, like you said, you got to re-sign. You got to lock Freddie up. You already got Ozzie and Acuna signed locked up long term. Acuna won't come up until he's 27, so you still got him locked up for several years. So you can really just take your time with him. I'm with you. He said he wants to be ready for spring training, but it's like, no, we want you just back when you're 100%. That's really all we're thinking about right now.
Sorry, JR, final thoughts and last question. So just to recap our playoffs, we saw the Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays all battle for that final spot. Aaron Judge gets thrown out when he wasn't hustling, might not have been on his horse. We got the walk-off home run, Chris Taylor, who beat the Cardinals. Then you get the Dodgers versus Giants super matchup. Braves upset them. The Brewers, they might be the luckiest team that we're not calling them the biggest folds in the year because they made absolutely no noise. What are you going to do? What are you most going to remember from the playoffs in this season?
Wow, this was a different type of season because all the favorites really underperformed, if you really want to know the truth. What I get out this season is the beauty of baseball and how the Atlanta Braves showed you that baseball is not fantasy basketball. It's not fantasy football. It's actually still a sport where the stars don't rule the game. Team chemistry rules the game. And I appreciate that. Being born in the 70s, I appreciate how baseball is still the team sport because one man can't win it for you in a baseball game. And just being and one superstar can't win it for you in a baseball game. It's still a game where everybody has a specific role to play. And you can never eliminate the original elements of the game: running, fielding, catching, timely hitting, and pitching. It'll never change. And the teams that do that, pardon me, fellas, the teams that do that, they win the games. It ain't the teams with the best players, the best numbers, the most home runs. It's the teams that can execute those phases of the game the best. That's what I love about baseball. So it's not one in particular thing. It's just that the Atlanta Braves open people's eyes to why baseball is such a great sport because of the teamwork, the camaraderie, and how important the leadership on a team is, and just doing the little things that matter. So it was a win to me. Not having two teams that maybe most of the country wanted to see was a big win for baseball because it gave you an understanding that this is a sport that every sport's star-driven, but the stars don't control baseball. You know, the baseball gods control baseball. Atlanta proved that this World Series, fellas.
Yes, sir. Well said. I'll leave it at that. But I want to thank everybody for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, and for everybody who's going to tune in when we get this up tomorrow. It was a great 2021 season. Like you said, we got the collective bargaining agreement. I hope we get in the office so we can negotiate a few things and get them off.
Right.
Guys, so we can get off, because it's not going to feel right to have – we've already seen the NBA move back in my generation. I don't want to see baseball not beginning in April. But for Dante Miles, the Gambler, J.R. Gamble, and Rob Parker, I want to say thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you, fellas. Great job all year. Look forward to seeing you turn it up next season.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Already in the lab for it, man. Thank you, guys.
Peace, fellas.
MLBBro.com is covering black and brown players in the Fall Classic.